So, hello everyone, and welcome to another program in the series Pros Pro Bono Meets the Volunteers, where we're meeting some of the people who help from our side help to make the program what it is after a season of meeting the clients. And today it's a great pleasure and an honor to meet Chintani Dissanayake. Is that right? Pronunciation? Good.
Yeah.
Dissanayake. Obviously, it is a Sinhalese name from Sri Lanka. Chintani is not only a volunteer in Sinhalese, but also the admin of the program now on a full-time basis and has no doubt interacted with many of you. So let's find out a bit more about Chintani, or Chinti as we call her, and her background and her contribution to the program. So welcome, Chinti.
Thank you, Andrew. It's a great honor to be here. And I have to say that when we started our Meet the Clients series, it really opened new knowledge and the chance for us to get to know who our clients are. So now that you have introduced this series to get to know our volunteers, I think it will be a really great idea and a great opportunity for all of us to get to know and build more. We are already connected, but we can be like more connected. So thank you for uh, this opportunity. Thank you, Andrew.
It's my pleasure. You're an obvious choice after Claudia because your work now is so integral to the program. So let's go back. Tell us a little bit about your background as a translator, first of all. When did it begin? Was it your first job?
Um, Actually, I wanted to be a translator since I was young, but I didn't have the opportunity, like educational chances, to pursue that as a career. So I immediately, after my high school, I went into business and accounting field, and I kept, even though I had the interest of becoming a translator, I and kept looking for opportunities. I didn't really had any. So while I was studying business, during the lectures, what I used to do was when the lecture is in Sinhala, I would write down the notes in English or read English books and write notes in Sinhala. Like it was like a game for me to stay focused and stay keep the studies fun to translate. So while I was doing that, my professors noticed that habit and they asked me to translate the test books from English to our local our students, and that made me really interested in the translating as like a volunteer thing, not as a professional thing, but doing that for all my classmates. It really made me happy being able to do that. So immediately, while I was still a student, I was just looking for opportunities to translate, and I got one with another volunteer organization, and they had this training program where I can learn to be how to translate and everything. So I have been a volunteer translator before I started working as a professional translator, because only after I finished my education studies in business, then only I found an opportunity to find a translation course in a government university where they properly train how to be a translator. So it I started volunteering for in around 2013. So after about 4 or 5 years later only, I got the professional qualification. Since then, I have had few freelancing opportunities, but mostly because my background mainly because business and business administration, virtual administration mostly. So I haven't really looked for opportunities as a professional economic translation opportunities, but I have been volunteering most of the time. Yes.
So you've got lots of skills there with business administration, with languages. When you first heard about this program, Pros Pro Bono, what made you, having had volunteering experience in the past,
Yes.
what made you want to volunteer again?
Uh, Actually, I found pros with Google search. I think, as I remember, I was looking when I was looking for opportunities. But as you know, my language pair is not that. common. We don't get much translation. So I wanted to see how else I can help. And I was wondering whether I could offer other ways. Like, I have background in virtual office administration, and we are actually a remote organization. You are managing everything from your country, and we all of us are in various countries, and we are working together as a proper system. So I was thinking that I could be a help for you. And then when you asked for Admin Ninja volunteering opportunity, I was thinking, oh, this is my call. I should be able to. So I was really happy when I received that newsletter. I remember that was one of the best days, because I was, for days, I was thinking how to approach you, how to ask this question, how to ask you whether you need help. And then you are sending me the newsletter. So,
That's good.
yeah.
Very happy coincidence. And what kind of duties then do you have every day? I mean, it seems to me that you're very busy in what you do. We have frequent communication on WhatsApp.
Yes.
How would manage without WhatsApp? I don't know. But give the volunteers a brief idea of the kind of things that you do on a daily basis.
Well, the first and foremost, we are setting up the pre-loops. When a client sends us a new job, we are setting up the task sheets and the emails and contacting the volunteers who are suitable for that. And then we have to update the dashboard after someone sign up. And then we also have to uh, keep the communication with them to help them if they need any help, or reminding them of the deadlines. Usually I'm the one who is sending deadline reminders, and I'm always thinking, am I disturbing this person? But yeah. um,
You also work quite late into the night, because often when I'm here just in the evening or just finishing up work, which I think 6 o'clock here in the evening is 10:30 in Sri
yes.
Lanka, and sometimes
Yeah.
you told me that you go on until 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah. I think I call myself a night owl. I like working at night because it's calmer, and I can focus on what I do mostly. And I when I started working at the beginning itself, I was working as a virtual. I mean, my companies, all the companies I worked were virtual companies, so that meant different time zones, and I got used to working late in the evening than starting early in the morning. So right now it's not like a big issue for me. Rather, I prefer that way to work late. So the morning is uh, reserved for whether translation, if I'm doing translations or if I have any classes, lectures. So yes, I really prefer working late. So that's why you always find me replying to messages at late hours.
Yeah. Just to finish off in that case, what do you particularly enjoy about being part of this program?
Sense of the community. That's what I love the most, because when I joined as volunteer in December, and on January I joined one of the open house meetings, and I was just curious. I didn't know what open house was. I just wanted to know what that was, and immediately I felt like this can be a place for me to feel like I'm not alone in this field. And then uh, there was this so many people who I can look up to, and the conversation was going on about some, because I joined in the middle of the conversation. I didn't know what was talked earlier, but I was like surprised. I remember after the conversation, I brought to several of my friends and my mom, telling how great this opportunity was to join this call. So I'm going to do that every week. Like, I was telling everyone that much I was excited about it. So since then, even I have got the chance to get more involved with the others. But in a volunteer point of view, sometimes we always don't have translations. But if we have this open house meeting every week, even if you don't do translation, you can join, talk to each other, get to know each other, and you can even discuss your issues that you meet in professional life. So I think it's a really great opportunity that other programs does not offer that regular, because we do that weekly. They might do it like once a year. I don't know, but I think this one is like this weekly meeting gives everyone a chance to feel like they belong somewhere, and then they have a place to ask for help if they need one. And then our WhatsApp group. I think everyone's favorite is WhatsApp group because everyone can immediately send a question and you get replies from all over the world. It's not just one town. They are only like they are. It's not their language pair or someone from their own country, but you get from the other side of the world, and someone will be immediately answering you. So yeah, I
Awesome.
think that community is the best thing.
Well, I'm very glad you enjoy that. I'm very glad
Yeah.
you joined the program because you are a very, very good virtual assistant. It's made a huge difference to my work. My final question is, we've both got books behind us. Have you read all of the books behind you?
Uh, I have. Those are my grandfather's. Most are in English. My
Yeah,
grandfather was fluent in several Indian languages, so
yeah.
that's how I also got this fondness towards languages since very young age. So the books are my way of keeping, like staying connected with him, even though he's not with me anymore. Like this, I really love this book. That's
Fantastic.
yeah.
Okay, well, great to hear. Thank you so much for making time for speaking to us today. And I'm sure all the volunteers will enjoy this opportunity to get to
Yeah.
know you. They see your name so often, but now they can meet you in person. Thanks, Chinti.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Bye.